fields of both the meditation as well as seva, okay, generosity, charity, etc. And it is running the schools, okay, hospital dana services, and at the same time we have a wing called the meditation at the Mahabodhi Society Bengaluru as a dynamic Mahabodhi Research Center also, catering to the research studies in Buddhist studies, where we are offering the diploma courses, certificate courses in Buddhist studies, and also PhD program in association with the Jain University and Sanskrit University, earlier erstwhile Tumkur University. And we are happy that today Venerable Tan Pannadipa is among us, and it is a great opportunity to listen to the Venerable Pannadipa Bante, who is the resource person of today's session, 21st session. And let me, for the audience, let me introduce today's speaker, Venerable Tan Pannadipa, born in Malaysia. Bante born in Malaysia, and he has to his degree credit MSc and PhD in medical sciences from the University of Toronto, and worked as a medical scientist for a couple of years in Canada. In 2011, in the year 2011, Venerable headed on his long-term inner calling to become an preceptor yogi, seeking meditation guidance mainly in Southeast Asia, and later ordained as a bhikkhu at the Pawak Forest Meditation Center in Myanmar. After several years of devoting himself to meditation practice, Venerable felt a need to dive deep into scriptural and Buddhist studies. Then went on to obtaining master's degree in Buddhist studies at the University of Hong Kong and Shan State Buddhist University in Myanmar. His multidisciplinary academic background in both modern sciences and Buddhist studies led to his appointment as the faculty at Shan State Buddhist University in the year 2019, teaching postgraduate courses and supervising research projects in various subjects in applied Buddhist studies. Apart from this, Venerable has also been meditation teacher, assisting and leading meditation retreats in Malaysia, Hong Kong, Myanmar, and North America. Today, it is a great opportune time for us to listen from you, Venerable Banteji, on the topic, the Buddhist positive thinking. Now it is over to Venerable Tan Pannadipa Banteji to deliver the today's lecture, special lecture.
Thank you for your such a detailed introductions. Yeah. So I'm very happy to be here. I'm very honored and humbled to be getting these opportunities, getting this invitation to present a talk here to celebrate in memory of 101 anniversary of our late excellent Buddhist monk ever, a recent in India, Acharya Buddha Rakita, as well as the current incumbent monks at the Mahabodhi Society. Yes, so thank you so much. So today I would like to talk about a topic which is pretty, a lot of people would know it quite well, you know. A lot of people, they would say, you know, be positive, be positive, be positive, right? So as we know, many motivational, okay, before I start, right, I hope you can understand my English.
Yeah, Bante.
So if you have difficulty to understand or to follow my speech, please raise your hand. I try to speak slowly. Okay.
Yeah. The slowness in delivery, okay, make us to understand easily.
Yeah, because we all have our own accents.
Yeah.
Okay. As many motivational quotes you can see spoken, written down by a whole lot of coaches, life coaches, career coaches these days being circulated on the social media. they're all talking about the power of positive thinking, the power of positive thinking. Oh, so what does this really mean, being positive or thinking positively, right? Positive thinking is, in general, is to think with optimism, and being positivity in all aspects of life, so that one can actually under control their negative feelings or any source of negativity or negative emotions that hinders one's progress and one's joy, one's happiness and enthusiasm towards life, right? So basically, this is an important strategy or living art. It's an art of life, right? Of living that promotes life satisfaction, reducing stress and anxiety, enduring all crises, vicissitude in life, increasing productivity, and goal-oriented outcome. Okay, but there is one problem with positive thinking, because uninhibited or unbridled optimism, if you are too optimism or too positive without measure, without any consideration, may lead to underestimation of risk. Underestimation of risk entail in a certain lesson. You were just getting into my document. So this underestimation of risk entail in certain experience in life, and what would be the unwanted consequences and repercussions so it may bring. So positive thinking that is not built on the good ground of ethics, especially on morality, leads one to treasure and indulge in vices and wrong deeds and wrong actions that would create havoc, wreak havoc and is disaster and much suffering in long run in the future. So being positive, sometimes for a thief, that means that every time they get caught, they will think, okay, today is my unlucky day, but just this time. The other times, if I get lucky, I'm going to steal again, right? So being positive, being a thief, and with positive thinking, this is a danger, isn't it? So positive thinking can make us obsessed and intoxicated in the transient pleasure, right? And achievements as well in life. And those are impermanent and may even deteriorate into pain and disgrace with time if we are not holding it up wisely. Can you follow me? Okay. Hence, therefore, with positive thinking, it is not really necessary that we will be able to learn a good lesson in life and make the wisest choice. And because wisdom in making choice is not integrated in this frame of mind, in the ordinary frame of mind, we are not equipped with this wisdom faculty. Merely having this positivity cannot rid us from some untoward effects and responsibility we have to bear upon certain unwise decisions we made earlier. Therefore, being positive is not always panacea, a cure-all for a truly fruitful and fulfilling life. So on this aspect, the Buddha's teaching may offer some sort of like a remedy dealing with these underlying shortcomings of positive thinking. So what I'm going to talk today particularly is about the positive thinking from the Buddhist perspective, the Buddhist positive thinking. So this frame of positive thinking is basically built upon the positive psychology derived from the teaching of the Buddha, to which the benefits one can directly realize and attest to. Okay, instead of seeing the positive side in all aspects of life, especially in dealing with one's failure, the Buddhist positive thinking is about how to think and how to reflect wisely so that appropriately informed actions can be taken up towards positive and wholesome outcomes. So this is towards a positive and wholesome outcomes, the result, the fruit, that leads to true happiness and absolute freedom. Absolute freedom, nirvana, that is the highest goal. Right? But today I'm not going to talk a lot about this supramundane or world transcending domain like nirvana. Okay? So Buddhist positive thinking is some sort like if for those a student of philosophy, they might know stoicism, right? In Stoic philosophy, this positive outcome is called atarasia, or absence of disturbances or troubles, or something poised to absolute satisfaction and contentment. So the positive outcome here refers to definite or absolute contentment and life satisfaction. In this regard of outcome, the Buddhist perspective, the Buddhist positive psychology may share to some degree with that of Stoicism. But the approach and philosophy to gaining that outcome might differ with each other in many ways. So Buddhism and Stoicism, they share certain things, but the ways and approaches are different, quite different. So positive thinking. So positive thinking from the Buddhist perspective is grounded on Dhamma. So Dhamma is reality or actuality, the natural laws, and the workings of things as they really are, which may bring positive effects to the immediate present and or near and distant future. So it's not just focusing on right now, here and now. It's actually bringing effects extending from present to the future. Okay, so the Buddhists sometimes such effect is not always, such thinking is not always positive, or I would say not, sometimes it's not optimistic in the common sense, in the general sense. Okay, sometimes it involves thinking that takes on realistic measures and negative precaution. So sometimes we have to restrain ourselves not to think certain things. So we have to restrain and to put inhibitory actions or measures to it. Can you follow me? Okay, thank you. If anyone cannot follow me, please raise your hand again. Okay. So the premise for Buddhist positive thinking is what? It's Yoniso Manasikara in Pali. Yoniso Manasikara in English translation means wise attention or wise reflections. I would think that wise attentions is a better word, directing your mind. And reflection somewhat is also thinking, but it's a more lengthy processes. So etymologically, it means like Yoniso Manasikara or wise attentions. Etymologically, from the Pali word, means applying your mind and attention to the source, to the origin, to the origin of things or events or phenomena. Getting down to the source, getting down to the origin. So Yoniso is the womb, right? Yoni, your womb, or womb is where we came from, the origin, right? The origin would mean that one is always considering or pondering things more appropriately, more deeply, and more thoroughly, penetratively. So Yoniso Manasikara is not thinking in any other way, but thinking it deeply, thoroughly, down to the down to the origins, down to the source, down to the root of things. So this is very important. Take note. So in short, seeing the actual state or formation of all events so that we can comprehend, we can understand it correctly to its origin or cause. Not being led, and very important, not being led by our prejudice, our preoccupied biases, or habitual tendency, always ruled, always controlled by our defilements. Okay, that always these defilements are the ones who distort our understanding. So why is that important? Because directing our attention to the root or origin of things is precisely resulting in positive outcomes, right? Because we are able to see things in the most realistic way and make wise and informed choices in regard to what we should act and do in every encounter and every experience in life that needs our thinking. Okay, we will then, because of this Yoniso Manasikara, wise attention, we will be able to pick up the right lesson, the correct lesson from our life, especially every unwanted mistake, the mistake that we make, and even the achievements that we make. So we are not deluded or stray away from without learning any valuable lessons from those mistakes we made, and all become too absorbed or too intoxicated with any transitory accomplishments that we periodically achieve in life. So because why? Because in Buddhism, all phenomena, everything that happens to our life, no matter how wonderful or disastrous or sad are they, are all subject to changes and fading away. So with Yoniso Manasikara, with wise attention, we will be able to stay mindful and somewhat quite aloof, quite detached to all these events in life, because with the right judgment and taking up the lessons from every event mindfully and apply and use them in the right occasions and leave it as it is where no longer are needed, and accept them, anything which are our expectation, with wisdom, because this wisdom of impermanence and non-self with those events, right? So becomes part of the benefits of having this Yoniso Manasikara. Now, so whenever we talk about Yoniso Manasikara, wise attention, which is sitting at the core of positive thinking from the Buddhist perspective, and what are the main Buddhist or Buddha's teachings we have to consider, so that we can make Yoniso Manasikara as the basis and vehicle, for our positive thinking, right? Here, whatever benefits we derive from the teachings of the Buddha, even here is more like a more mundane or lokiya nature, more mundane or worldly or lokiya nature. We should always make the Four Noble Truths as a central guide. So with respect to Yoniso Manasikara, the fourth noble truth, which is the path that leads to the end of suffering, or in essence, the Noble Eightfold Path. The Noble Eightfold Path is Atangika Ariya Magga. Is constitute the foremost in practicing Yoniso Manasikara. So Ariya Magga, okay, of the 8 factors in the Noble Eightfold Path, right view, samadhi, is the foremost. So samadhi must come first. is the foremost and the forerunner of all other factors. So it is the key to all wholesome actions that leads us to happiness and as well as to the final liberation. So although there are generally there are two dimensions to right view. There are one is the foundational, one is the fundamental and mundane, and usually offers us a karmically positive outcomes that gives us positive outcome in terms of karma, right? And the other one, the other right view is towards world transcending or supramundane outcomes that is driven us towards Nibbana. Okay, so although the supramundane outcome is where the ultimate Buddhist goal lies, but in my talk today, I won't dive too much into this domain, because if you take our framework of positive thinking into the realm of meditation and cultivating the liberating wisdom, panya, and all this. So this is quite beyond the scope of our talk today. So I'm going to talk about the more mundane levels. The foundational right view, the foundational, the lokia, the worthy right view here includes what does it constitute? What does it include? You know, it's actually includes confidence or having faith, having the confidence in the efficacy of the laws of karma, in which the laws of karma from the Buddhist perspective shares with the other Dharmic religions in India is that good actions begets pleasant or positive results. Unwholesome or akusala actions or karma begets painful or negative results, right? So in order to get to the wholesome actions, there are three main routes that we have to remember. The three main routes of wholesome actions or karma are what are alobha, adosa, amoha, non-greed, non-aversion, and non-delusion. And the opposite, which are greed, aversion, and delusion, make up the three unwholesome roots. So we have these two pairs of roots, and we have to understand all of them. What are the wholesome roots, and the opposite will be the unwholesome roots. So for yoniso manasikara to effectively work, right, we must possess this right view of having a full understanding of those wholesome roots and strive to develop them, develop them with the confidence that they will help us, attain a wholly positive outcome in long term and in the future, not just right here and now. So not necessarily this has to be experienced right here and now. And most of the positive thinking, they just focus on right here and now. So this is something like not so similar to the Buddhist perspective. Although having happiness right here and now is quite important, but it's not enough. It's not enough. So ensuring right view, following with the right view is a firm intention. We have to induce or create an intention, the volition, cetana, to direct our mind to wholesomeness, direct our mind to kusala, to wholesome action. So this is what the right intention, samma sankappa, of the Noble Eightfold Path is. So here, practicing right intentions includes most likely the thoughts of avihimsa, ahimsa, non-violence. It's quite important, non-violence, avihimsa. So because with this thought of non-violence, it propels us, to cultivate the qualities of the four Brahma Vihara. The four Brahma Vihara, which are metta. Metta means loving kindness or universal love or selfless love. And karuna, compassion. Mudita, appreciative joy. And upeka, equanimity. this very positive, affective or emotional qualities is actually sit at the central, at the heart of the Buddhist positive thinking. And they are the reservoirs, they are the fountain spring where positive actions or positive emotions that could affect positive thinking are found. So this Brahma Vihara are the sources, are the reservoirs, are the fountain spring for positive thinking to get inspiration. So I would like, especially here, I would like to shed light, particularly on the importance of mudita, appreciative joy, mudita in this respect, because I think mudita is really, really important, in supporting the Buddhist positive thinking. Mudita is what? Mudita or appreciative joy, sympathetic joy, altruistic joy, rejoicing joy. Rejoicing joy, is that the English? Rejoiceful. Is having a genuine appreciation, a genuine happiness, rejoicing in the success and gains of others, as well as towards ourselves. So a lot of times, like if you're appreciating whichever achievements that people have gained, have done, then this is mudita. And not just that, you also have to direct the mudita towards yourself as well, towards ourselves. For those achievements, successes, good things, good karma that we have done, we have to really bring up, recollect them again, and finding joy, rejoicing in it. So this is also mudita. So this is called, in the West, they call it counting the blessings, counting the blessings. To have gratitude, to have this gratefulness, appreciations towards ourselves, right? Towards our what the good things that we have done in the past, or right here and now. Because why? Because if we can rejoice in others' successes, others people's success, we are pretty much distant ourselves, from being envious, envy or jealousy, right? And jealousy and envy is a very common culprit, common enemy that generates a lot of competitive, aggressive, and comparative mentality in all kinds of human relationships. And it's a main culprit fountain of many conflicts and strifes in every society. That's what I can observe. So by rejoicing in others' successes, we can really trim down this envy and jealousy. And this will solve, to some degree, at least we've done a part not to get into this kind of dilemma, that been faced by this society these days. A lot of conflict and strife. And by rejoicing in our own successes, so mudita can go towards ourselves as well. By rejoicing in our own success or counting our blessings, we are able to really control the feeling of, to subdue the feeling of discontentment, and to thinking that we are not good enough, self-insufficiency or low self-confidence. Low self-confidence is pretty bad, because if you don't have self-confidence, a lot of things that you want to do, you cannot achieve, right? So positive thinking will only thrive, will only grow in a person with a positive outlook towards themselves, towards oneself and others. So here, mudita cultivation proves to be quite helpful. It's very helpful. Okay. Meanwhile, on consolidating right view with right attention, right view and right intention, samadhi and samasankappa. So if we have right view and right intentions, the right action, sama kamata, right speech, sama vacha, and right livelihood, sama ajiva. that form the Buddhist virtue, the Buddhist morality, will have the opportunity to grow. So with right view and right intention, it will promote, it will support the morality to grow as well. And here is the Buddhist also, the Buddhist positive thinking is also emphasizing on this ethical aspect, ethical conduct, because it can steer a positive thinker to the right track, preventing them from endorsing positivity towards vices and unwholesome conducts, which in long run can bring negative outcomes, more negative outcomes than positive. So in terms of protecting this wholesome ethical mind, we will need to incorporate the right effort, the right effort of the Noble Eightfold Path. The right effort is Samma Vayama, the right effort. So right effort, as we know, is make sure the unwholesomeness, it's we are able to censor or diminish the unwholesomeness in our mind, while promote, maintain, and nurture this wholesome mind, this wholesomeness of mind, right? So note that the emphasis of the Buddhist positive thinking is not here very, very different from the positive thinking from the psychology, from the popular belief, popular understanding. The Buddhist positive thinking is not so much emphasizing on gaining worldly successes, including fame, honors, material gains, and so on. But Buddhist positive thinking very emphasizing to cultivate and develop the inner qualities, the inner mental and affective qualities, emotional qualities, which are the sources, which are the direct sources of mental well-being. The mental well-being and promoting the positive or optimal intra and interpersonal relationships, right? So there are a lot of evidences, mounting evidences from a lot of health research so far, in the world, have shown that mental well-being is the most direct cause of life satisfaction and antidotes against mental suffering, such as nowadays like depression, PTSD, like post-traumatic stress disorders, and some of the general anxiety disorders, and so on. And good mental well-being is also a strong promoter of physical health. So the mind and body, they are all connected. So in line with the right efforts, we also need to have the right mindfulness. So let us recall, just now we discussed earlier, Yoniso Manasikara is paying attention to the things, to the origin, right? Penetratively, properly, down to its source. To complete this task, being able to get to the source, we will need a very good and constant dose of mindfulness, sati. Mindfulness is sati, and clear comprehension as well, sambhajana. So to be applied to our daily life, right? So mindfulness will keep us in touch with our thinking process, connected with our activity and every decision we are going to make, right? Clear comprehension will help us access penetratively and thoroughly, whether such thinking and subsequent decisions is wholesome or not, right? So clear comprehension is the wisdom part that can make us being able to distinguish wholesome from unwholesome. So mindfulness and sati and clear comprehension, samajana, they must come together, go together. Therefore, it is precisely, by practicing sati and samajana, mindfulness and clear comprehension, yoniso manasikara, yoniso, the wise attention, can essentially take place and operate. And for penetrative, for very thorough assessment to a great depth, a good level of right concentration, samadhi must be there as well. So the eighth factor in the Noble Eightfold Path, the samadhi, is it will place a role to make sure we have this clear and collected mind, that allows us to go down to the root of things. Okay, with right mindfulness and clear comprehension, sati and samajana, we are able to acquire this samadhi, this right concentration, samadhi. So I want to recap, the recap of my talk today. I'm sure it's quite technical, but I hope that everyone can benefit from it. The Buddhist positive thinking is quite different, from the popular positive thinking we have in the world, in the sense that the Buddhist positive thinking goes into the great depth and great length to the source and root of things or events, and to think wisely that results in truly wholesome and positive outcomes in long term into the future, and not just here and now. And it has a far-sighted as well as a far-reaching oriented approach, and it does not make positivity and happiness here and now as the sole factor for thinking, for considerations, like the popular positive thinking would adopt. For that, the Buddhist positive thinking can be also called, which is called wise attention, yoniso manasikara, that is paying properly, proper attention to the origin of things. And for that, we need to have some understanding and skills in applying the Noble Eightfold Path or the middle path to work alongside yoniso manasikara. So right views is a foremost and forerunner. It gives the foundational directive, the foundational guide, which engages the other factors, such as right attention, right intention, sammasankappa, right effort, samma vayama, right mindfulness, sammasati, and right concentration, samma samadhi, and to accomplish the goal of yoniso manasikara. Okay, here the positive emotional or affective quality, such as the Brahma Vihara, and particularly the mudita, appreciative joy, becomes extremely helpful in bringing up a positive outlook towards oneself as well as others. And for yoniso manasikara to practically be applied to everyday life, sati, mindfulness, and clear comprehension, samajana, sambhajanya, are the essential pair by which all wholesome factors needed to be cultivated and unwholesome factors needed to be abandoned can work out, can be taken place. So in this manner, the Buddhist positive thinking is mainly dedicated to bringing up the wholesome mental factors, the wholesome mental qualities within ourselves, much more than towards any mundane gains, fame, or honors that are apparently like most people on earth are looking for, right? But those things seldom bring us true happiness and fulfillment. So, but it is the wholesome mental factors, the wholesome mental qualities that generate merits or punya, and they will have a very positive fruits karmically in the later life and in our future lives. And in addition, it can fulfill our spiritual requisites. Spiritual requisites means palami towards final liberation, nibbana. So the basis of attaining nibbana is generally built on the wholesome mind. Okay, so before I conclude my talk, I would like to highlight a few classical or landmark scientific findings, short scientific findings of some of the classical psychological research that seems to support to the positive efficacy, the possible efficacy of Buddhist positive thinking. So let's take a look. I would like to share. Can I share? I've made a slide. Yeah. Okay. Oh no. Can everyone see the slide here?
Yes, yes. Landmark psychological.
Yeah, scientific findings on positive psychology. So these are been done more than 20 years ago, right? But generally, the findings, the results can still be applied. You know, they are still relevant. You know, to these days. You know, so it says, wealth is only weakly related to happiness, both within and across nations, particularly when income is above the poverty level. This is from a classical landmark research paper back in 1996. So the lessons we can learn from it is that money, if you have it in excess, you know, in excess more, doesn't make us happy, or doesn't make us happier. Okay, so this is what I mean. You know, the Buddhist positive thinking doesn't really like focus so much on money. So activities that make people happy in small doses, such as going for shopping, good food, and making money, even making money, do not lead to fulfillment in the long run, in the long term, right? Indicating that these have quickly diminishing returns, right? So the lesson from it is that we need more sustainable things or some acquisitions than those of ordinary and mundane for more fulfilling happiness, right? For happiness, we need to go beyond just shopping, good food, and making money. Okay, so here, Buddhist positive thinking, Yoniso Manasikara, can really solve it. You know, can really give a lot of insight to it. The people who express gratitude on a regular basis have better physical health, optimism, progress towards goals, well-being, help others more. You know, so the lessons, gratitude. You know, counting your blessings, Katanio and Buddhita. You know, as just as talk about Buddhita a lot, can improve your physical and mental health and mental well-being. So trying to maximize happiness can lead to unhappiness, right? So lesson, craving for more of a good stuff, you know, is a hindrance to happiness. So if you want to maximize your happiness, in fact, it in turn can lead to more unhappiness. So craving for more good stuff is a hindrance to happiness. People who witness others perform good deeds experience an emotion called elevation, and this motivates them to perform their own good deeds. So you can see wholesome actions, that means performing good karma brings you true joy, you know. Yeah. So people who are optimistic or happy have better performance in work, school, and sports, are less depressed, have fewer physical health problems, have better relationships with other people. Further optimism can be measured and can be learned. So a very positive attitude and joyful emotions improves psychosocial and physical health. And such mental qualities are learned skills and can be cultivated. The lessons. So people who report more positive emotions in young adulthood live longer and healthier lives. So positive emotions, that means metta, karuna, and all this, mudita, you know, can extend life. Okay. So now, so that's comes to the end of today's talk.
Yes, Bhante.
So I hope you
Yeah, thank you.
Follow.
Thank you very much, Bhante.
benefit from it.
Wonderful. Wonderful and beautiful.
How many people are here? Okay, 20.
Yeah, let us see the audience. Audience, okay, you are free to jump in. And if you want any clarifications,
Yeah, if you have.
Bante is here. Bante will clarify all your clarifications.
Vandami Bante.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good,
Yeah,
good
I am
evening.
a Upasak. I am a Upasak from Bombay.
Yeah.
My name is Samir Jadhav, and I request for the PDF of the presentation which we just saw. That can be emailed because you know your outlook or the way you actually explained it is very in a very simple and a very we can understand and we can have a connect with it. It's a great effort. So if the PDF could be shared, it would really benefit all of us.
Yes,
Vandami.
yes.
Vandami.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for your encouragement. Because I've been, I'm a quite academic, you know, I'm a teaching in the university. So some of the talks might be too technical for you. I hope to make it more, people can follow, you know, most of the people, you know, can follow. I try my best, but I might not be doing that, you know, being able to do that successfully.
No, it was successful, Bante.
Thank you so much. I hope so. You know, sometimes I need to, I do evaluate myself. You know, sometimes I will ask my friends to really check out some of the recorded lessons and tell me what they feel. They all the time they feel that sometimes I cannot follow you. You know, you are a bit too.
No. We follow because we have observed your lips while you are uttering words.
Thank you.
And this Upasaka requested to share your PDF last, okay, the video conclusion part, last sheet, okay, that you wanted to have. Okay, if you can share, we can share to all share it with all the Upasakas, whoever required.
Am I going to write it down? You know, I cannot even remember what actually did I talk just now.
Pardon?
I think they can really like listen to it because it's a recorded talk, right? It's a recorded talk. They can go back to the channel, the YouTube channel.
Yeah, once again, if they listen to, they can slowly understand. But we got it, Bante.
Yes, in fact, these days you can have this auto translations, so they can really get the translation right away from the talk.
Yeah. And Bante, from today's talk, what we get to know is that there is a popular psychological positive thinking on one hand, Buddhist positive thinking on the other hand. This popular psychological positive thinking is not based on Yoniso Manasikara, Brahma Vihara, and Ariyattayika Maggo. This popular one. Whereas Buddhist positive thinking is based on Yoniso Manasikara, supported by Brahma Vihara and Eightfold Noble Paths, and which is long lasting and everlasting until Nibbana. Whereas this popular positive psychology or positive thinking is ephemeral, momentary, fleeting. Okay, we are chasing happiness that is leading to more unhappiness. Positive thinking without the Buddha's Dhamma, Yoniso Manasikara, that is penetrative, going into the deep of the origin of the origination of thoughts, etc., which is what you are calling it as Stoicism. Stoicism means a reason as a means of understanding the nature of things in the world. Reason as a means of understanding nature of things in the world. Lokia. The nature of things is anicca, dukkha, anatta. ADA. At Mahabali Society, we have coined this anicca, dukkha, anatta as ADA. ADA, one who directly knows ADA is having Panya. Not knowing this ADA is Avijja, delusion. And this Pariyatti is intellectual understanding. Patipatti is direct understanding of the nature of things. So, move towards Buddhist positive thinking of Yoniso Manasikara, Sati Pattana. Sati is very important in the last breath. And follow fourth moving truth for positive thinking. This is the application. And in the real field, Bhante has shown, okay, this possessing more money cannot give happiness. Any amount of material possession cannot equate with mental well-being that can be developed by Shila, Buddhist virtue, Shila Samadhi. And if you practice ethical conduct and ethical virtue, that is positive thinking. Then right effort and right concentration, right mindfulness is bhavana. Right thought and right view is panya. Understanding the nature of Shila Samadhi Panya. And that is the approach one has to tread. That is Ariyato Niko Maggo. And everything will fall in place in the long run. That is what today's lecture is all about. Pure positive thinking without Dhamma. Positive thinking with the Dhamma approach. That is the difference. Now I request audience, Vidya. One question, what is this? Vandami Bhante ji, how would you suggest to develop the faculty of positive thinking in lay people or for the beginners walking on the noble eightfold path? I repeat, how would you suggest to develop the faculty of positive thinking in lay people or for the beginners walking on the noble eightfold path?
Yeah.
That is a question from Madhusudan Khatri.
So you already know what is Noble Eightfold Path, right? So you are beginning to work on it, So as long as you are on the path, you know what are the Noble Eightfold Path, or the 8 factors, how do they work, how do they link together, mutually support one another. You are already like starting practicing Buddhist positive thinking.
Yeah, you are the beginner. So carry on the path successfully.
Yeah.
On a sustained basis.
And make sure the sila is there, the right view is there, right? Sila and Brahma Vihara, So sometimes, a lot of times, like regarding the Brahma Vihara, the Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha, a lot of times we focus so much on outside. We say, oh, I have to have loving kindness, I have to have compassion for others. They're neglecting themselves. So we must have enough metta, karuna, mudita, upekkha towards ourselves first. If we have enough self-confidence, self-love, then because of that, we have extra to share, right? So make sure that we have enough self-love, a lot of metta towards ourselves, a lot of compassion, self-compassion towards ourselves. So from there on, with that as a basis, we can spread out. Right. So this is like, if you don't have enough money, how can you give it away? If you don't have enough love for yourself, how can you give it away? Right. So it's the same thing. Yeah.
Bhante, you have rightly brought out today. Many people, mudita means appreciative joy, the sympathetic joy, and also rejoicing at the success of others without any jealousy.
And also yourself as well, counting your blessing as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And today from your lecture, we got to know we have to rejoice at our own success for further success in Dhamma.
Yeah. Okay, we have another question.
And this antidote of dosa, chetasika, antidote of dosa chetasika is metta, loving kindness.
Yes, metta, karuna, mudita. All of them can be antidote to anger, to dosa.
How to reach Upeka tatra majjatata, fourth Chetasika in Brahma Vihara. Bante. Tatra majjatata. The Chetasika tatra majjatata in Brahma Vihara, 4 elements we have Chetasika. Metta, Karuna, Mudita.
Yeah, yeah. Metta is adosa.
Metta is adosa.
Yeah.
And Mudita is opposite of Issa.
Yeah, yeah. Mudita is another Chetasika. Yeah.
And Upeka is Tatra Majjatata in Abhidhamma.
I don't know. I don't get that word, sorry.
Tatra
Tatra.
Majjatata. There in the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
There in the middle, we have to balance, okay, the
Yeah.
joy and sorrow. Okay, we should stay in the middle. Balancing. Neutrality.
Balancing. Yeah, it's a quite.
Neutrality of mind, Bante.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So yeah, I think this is going to go to another topic. It's beyond this the scope of this positive thinking.
Yeah.
So I don't think I will need to explain. It's a long thing to explain that. Yeah. I would take only the relevant questions.
Yeah. Sometimes Kushala state, if you enjoy, it will lead to Akushala state.
No, not really. Just timing, and must be relevant.
One more question is there, Bante.
Vandami Banteji.
Vandami Banteji, how to develop positive thinking? Normally, suddenly negative thinking comes first.
Okay, that's very good questions, Okay, are you aware of your negative thinking? If you have awareness of that, now you're no longer negative, right? If you're aware of negative thinking arising, that's mindfulness.
Savera, sati.
And negative feeling, not negative thinking is negative. That's clear comprehension. That's sabajana, right? With that three factors, hold it. This is negative. This is unwholesome. You can pull it down. And now, at the time you're aware of it, you're already free from it.
So sati sampajanya is the medicine.
Yes.
Bante, one more from Dr. R.K. Anuragi, Vandami Banteji. In Brahma Vihara, Metta, Mudita, and Upeka calms us. No doubt about it. But Karuna, it creates pain to me for others' cause. Then how can I overcome this painful feeling for others' cause?
Yes, that's a very good question as well. In fact, there's a misunderstanding about what karuna is. Karuna, compassion means a wish, a very positive emotion of wish to relieve, to wish the suffering of others get reduced or get lifted up, to be free from suffering, right? So this wish, this karuna doesn't need to be getting to the sadness or frustration or disappointment or depression, right? In fact, if you really read Visuddhimagga, the Visuddhimagga, right? The enemy, the near enemy of developing karuna is becoming sad, falling victim to the sadness because of suffering of others. Yes, so we have to really.
Kukucha.
Yeah, kukucha. Yeah, kukucha. The remorse. Remorse is an unwholesome factor. Unwholesome mental factor is a nivarana, right? So karuna, if you develop optimally, it doesn't lead to kukucha. If you force into kukucha, that's an enemy. In fact, it's an enemy of karuna.
Akusala.
Yeah. So you know what actually like if you are a truly developing karuna, you must have this compassionate heart, compassion towards other suffering, but you try to help, but you don't fall into that kind of negative mind state. Make sure, so karuna sometimes have to come with upeka, upeka, equanimity, So sometimes we want someone to be free from suffering. For those who are in sorrow or in pain, yes. But we have to understand sometimes, or no matter how much we want them to be free from suffering, sometimes it's not happening. Everyone has their own karma, right? So even though we wish them to be free from suffering, sometimes it does not happen this way. So we have to develop upeka, and karuna itself, because of this wish, is already quite novel, quite novel, quite sublime, divine.
Yeah.
So we have to. So in this topic, I hope others. Who is the questioner?
Aruna Ragi.
Yeah, you should go to the Visuddhimagga, cultivating Brahma Vihara. The second part, the concentration of Samadhi part. Read that. How to develop karuna without getting into sadness.
Yeah, actually karuna means eliminating the sufferings of others.
Yes.
However, it is not possible to remove the sufferings of others. With we have to carry on with. And if you suffer for others' suffering, and that leads to akushala, 14 mental chetasika, again it will lead to kukucha, worry, agitation of mind, udacha and kukucha.
Right. So don't fall into kukucha. Kukucha is not really a wholesome, it's not a kusala, it's akusala.
Yeah, remorse, regret.
Yeah.
Can I speak, Bante?
Yes, please.
Yeah, Bante, this is Samir from Mumbai once again. We were just speaking about hindrances. So this thinamitta, laziness, or what is the antidote for
Tina?
Yeah. What is the antidote?
Sloth and torpor.
Tina torpor.
The antidote for thinamida is vitaka.
Yeah, exactly. Vitaka. Yeah.
Vitaka. Initial application.
If you direct your mind again, the laziness will go away.
Because
you're putting a lot of effort.
How to subdue thinamida is vitaka. Initial application of the mind. It is a jhana application.
Can you explain it like for 2 minutes? Like what is the antidote for this?
Bante,
in fact, this is not really a question, because this is more like a meditation, regarding meditation. You want to develop samatha vipassana, especially samatha. Thinamida is a nivarana that you can really reverse it, target on it, combat it with vitaka. But vitaka is just, it's just one of many. In fact, if you develop this spiritual faculty, this indriya, all indriya will help. They come together. The indriya, the satta,
panchindriya.
Pancha indriya. Pancha indriya, right? That will help, So vitaka particularly will no, the jhana factor, sorry. If pancha indriya can help, as well as the jhana factors, the jhana factor, the jhana.
Pancha janangas.
Jhana anga.
Janangas. Vitaka vichara, iti sukha ekagata. And this vichara will eliminate, vichara will subdue. Vichara will subdue doubt, vichikicha.
Yeah. So in the pancha indriya, that's factors that can target the sloth and torpor, the tinna binda. Tinna binda will be energy, will be virya. Virya.
Virya is required.
Of course, virya sati.
And these tina and midda, sloth and torpor. Tina is sluggishness of chitta. Midda is sluggishness of chetasika.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Sluggishness of chitta is tina. Sluggishness of chetasika is midda. Therefore, the antidote is we have to take meditational subject, anyone, anapana or whatever, and consider applying your mind onto the object that subdues this sloth and torpor in course of time.
Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you, Bante. Thank you, Bante.
Thank you for your question.
Sir, any question idea nimdo? So, Bante,
yeah,
we are very happy in today's special lecture.
Yeah, I'm very honored as well to have the chance to speak here.
Yeah,
And apparently, I'm talking with Abhidharma teacher here as well.
And our director, Buddhadatta Banteji, is in the meeting.
Yeah.
And
So you are here and you can solve a lot of my questions that I have to think, have to recall. I might not be able to give a very detailed,
yeah, at Mahabodhi we teach Abhidhamma, Sutta, Vinaya, all we teach here Bante at Mahabodhi Research Center.
Oh,
Abhidhamma
this
lessons.
one-
Abhidhamma lessons for students of a diploma, certificate course. We teach here.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. And all those Pattana is also very important. 24
Yes.
Pachayas, Vibhanga, Dhamma
Right.
Sangani. All these are very important.
Right. Yeah,
So,
exactly. Right. I think we have a question, I think a comment here, right? From Dr. Anuragi.
Anuragi.
It says, I think the antidote of painful feeling coming out of Brahma Vihara is Arupa Jhanas. The problem is how to develop Arupa Jhanas. Why is antidote of painful feeling is Arupa Jhana?
Arupa Jhana, no materiality.
Why Arupa Jhana? Of course, any jhana, when you are in any jhana, you don't have painful feeling at all. Huh? You no longer have this pain or suffering or mental pain or physical pain. All disappear when you enter even the first jhana.
Yeah. In first jhana itself, 5 entrances are subdued.
Yeah. Subdued. Yeah.
Subdued. Again in 5th jhana, it is tatra majjatata.
Yeah.
Equanimity.
And how to develop Arupa Jhanas? Yeah. So you have to develop four jhanas first, Arupa Jhanas. Yeah? Be skillful at it before you can go to Arupa. Arupa Jhana, you have to practice Kasina first. Huh? Okay, don't talk about it.
Fifth Rupa Jhana will lead to first Arupa Jhana.
Okay.
Bante, we will wind it up on behalf of Mahabodhi Research Center, Mahabodhi Society, and by the blessings of Buddha Dhamma Sangha and all the Bhikkhu Sangha at Mahabodhi Society. We wholeheartedly thank you for your wonderful, wonderful deliberation on the Buddhist positive thinking. That is the path that is required for in the current 21st century chaotic world, the world with uncertainty, complexity. And this is very important. This is the positive thinking, real positive thinking. And therefore, we thank you immensely, Bante, for having among us, for more than 1 hour and giving your valuable Dhamma talk. Sabbadhanam, Dhammadhanam Jinati. Therefore, we have benefited out of your Dhamma talk. So, we will, Bante. Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakkantu Sabba Devata Sabba Buddhanubhavena Sada Sotti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakkantu Sabba Devata Sabba Dhammanubhavena Sada Sotti Bhavantu Te Bhavatu Sabba Mangalam Rakkantu Sabba Devata Sabba Sanganubhavena Sada Sotti Bhavantu Te. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Okay, everyone be happy, be in peace, be in good health all the time, and be always directed their mind positively, following the teachings of the Buddha, and may all be blessed.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Bante, visit Bengaluru. Visit Bengaluru Mahabodhi Society.
Yeah, Bengaluru.
There is an open welcome for you. Please do come.
Yeah. If I have a chance, I will go. I will visit the place.
Please do come and share your Dhamma teachings here. For
yes. I've been to India, but so many years ago, like 20 years ago.
Buddha's land.
Yeah. Thank you.
Please do come. Okay, Bante.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Sadhu.
Yeah. Bye.